Well, it's official. The fair tax will be on the ballot in November 2020. Today's vote is a giant leap forward for the middle class and for those striving to get there. It's about fairness and change and reform, and it's about financial stability, economic opportunity, and growth for our state. I campaigned on a promise to put Springfield back on the side of working families, to ask people like me to pay more, and to protect middle-class families. And today, we have reached a major milestone in that endeavor. We didn't get here overnight. It took organizations and advocates, legislators and community leaders, labor leaders, and working families in every corner of this state rising up and demanding fairness. I want to especially thank the members of our Fair Tax Working Group, especially Senators Don Harmon, Toy Hutchinson, and Andy Minar, and Representatives Rob Martwick, Art Turner, and Mike Zaleski. Without your countless hours of work, we wouldn't be here today. I also want to thank President Cullerton and Speaker Madigan for their leadership and commitment to moving this legislation forward. It took years of hard work, beginning well before I came into this office, to make today a reality. Because of that work, because of those standing here today and advocates across the state, Illinoisans will now have a say in how they are taxed. They will have an opportunity to vote to make sure that 97% of Illinoisans pay the same or less in income taxes. They will have a vote on raising taxes on just 3% of taxpayers to finally restore stability in our state budget. Illinoisans will have a vote on improving the arc of our state's finances forever. Since introducing this proposal, I've traveled to communities across our state. Some are struggling. Others are thriving. Some want less government, and others feel that their government has entirely forgotten about them. But all of our communities and all of our families want to be treated with fairness. As Illinois faces down a multi-billion-dollar budget deficit into the foreseeable future, we cannot do nothing. Our choices are clear. Some would choose to make a drastic 15% cut to schools, public safety, transportation, and universities. Others would choose to raise income taxes by 20% on the middle class and everyone else in Illinois. I choose today, with the Illinois General Assembly, a fair tax that protects working families and raises taxes on just 3% of people in Illinois, those making $250,000 or more. I choose fairness, and I believe that Illinoisans will too. And thanks to today's vote, Illinoisans will get to make that choice. We know that beyond our unfair income tax system, families have suffered under the enormous burden of high property taxes in Illinois. And I'm proud that the fair tax provides some relief here with a $100 million increase in the property tax credit. But I want to be clear, that's just the beginning of our work to address property taxes in Illinois, which are far too high. I want to thank all of those who have reached out to be part of a solution on making property taxes more fair and less burdensome in communities all across our state. Nothing brings people together like the desire to fix property taxes. And I especially want to thank members like Jonathan Carroll, Rita Mayfield, Dan Dittich, Sam Yingling, Stephanie Kifowit, Bob Morgan, and other members of our General Assembly who brought their concerns, their real concerns, to my office, and in a productive and heartfelt fashion engaged in conversations over the past several weeks. Today, I'm proud to announce a bipartisan and bicameral property tax task force that will review the entirety of our property tax system, study best practices in other states, and make short and long-term recommendations by the end of the year. The creation of this task force will be included in our fair tax package and will have the full support of my office. Together, we'll ensure that our children receive the quality education they deserve, even while we provide more property tax relief for our homeowners and make our system more fair for everyone in Illinois. And voters, you will get the chance to have your say on a fair tax system in November of 2020. And now I'd like to call on Representative Martwick, one of the chief sponsors in the House of Representatives. Representative?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, good afternoon. I did not prepare remarks for a press conference. I prepared remarks to pass a resolution to put a constitutional amendment on the ballot to give voters the opportunity to weigh in on whether or not we cast aside a broken and outdated tax system and modernize it so that we can begin fixing our state. And today, thanks to the support of all the people standing behind me, many people who are not standing behind me, but certainly with a big, big, big push from Governor Pritzker, we were able to get that done. This is no small accomplishment. People have been working on this for longer than a decade, some of which are standing in the room here with me today have been pushing for a change to this for over a decade. 7 years ago, as I mentioned on the floor, I campaigned on this issue. I come from a middle-class area. I come where people are police officers, firefighters, teachers. They swing a hammer or turn a wrench for a living. And they need some relief. But they don't just need relief. They need to know that their kids have adequate resources to get a proper education. And they need to know that when their kids go to college, that they're going to get a quality education at a price that they can afford, and that they're going to stay here. And they've been denied these things for too long. And this gives us the tools to start reforming Illinois, to really start fixing the problems in a mathematical way, acknowledging the realities of our problem, and putting us on a path to fiscal prosperity for this generation and for the next. This couldn't have got done without Governor Pritzker, who campaigned from day one on this. When I heard him announce and start talking about a fair tax from day one, I thought, is this too good to be true? When I filed a bill 3 years ago, people said, are you crazy? Why would you file a bill for a fair tax under Governor Rauner? And I said, because we can't stop talking about this issue. We have to keep advancing it. We have to keep educating people about why this is the solution. But it wouldn't have gotten done without the great push from Governor Pritzker, so I'm grateful for that. It's a great day. It feels great. The 3 hours seemed like, well, 3 hours. But I really enjoyed the debate. I'm so grateful for the comments of the people in support of this, and I look forward to continue our education and making sure the voters adopt this as well. Thank you very much. Yes, and I want to turn this over to one of those people who's been working on this for a very long time and certainly helped get this across in the Senate, and so honored to work with him this year as we push to make this happen. Senator Don Harmon.
Thank you. Representative Martwick, congratulations, and to all of the House members who are here today who supported the bill and voted, thank you. This has been a long time coming. For better or worse, I did have 10 years to work the roll call in the Senate, and I was also lucky to have such terrific colleagues in the Senate, several of whom are here today. I see Senator Julie Morris and Senator Terry Link, Senator Melinda Bush in the back somewhere. She's here somewhere. Since she was a candidate, she said, I want to make sure we pass the fair tax. And my real partner in this, a co-sponsor, chief co-sponsor of the constitutional amendment and the chief sponsor of the bill to implement the rate structure, Senator Toy Hutchinson, a real champion. I'm so lucky to have colleagues like that in the Senate. But what really changed here was Governor Pritzker. And Governor, I can't tell you how grateful I am that you have made this a cause. It's the right thing to do. I understand you might pay a little bit more under the rate structure, but you know that this is the right thing for Illinois. This is the right thing for the middle class. And to Representative Martwick's point, we'd all like to reduce property taxes, and we should and we will. But implementing the fair tax is critical and necessary as a prelude to tackling property taxes. So I'm looking forward to the fight ahead for the next 18 months. Glad to have Governor Pritzker at the front of that, leading the charge to ensure voters do what's right for themselves and vote to approve the fair tax. But today is such a critical step in that journey. So let's get to the fight. Thank you all so very much. Representative Carroll, there you are. Thank you for your vote.
Hi, thank you so much. And again, I appreciate Governor Pritzker. I want to tell you that I was a very vocal critic of this. Obviously, I came out with some concerns. And to the great credit of Governor Pritzker reached out to me right away, had some conversations with me, and heard that my issue, and I was very clear on this, is property taxes and the challenges that we have of property taxes in this state. And he said, okay, be part of the solution. So I said, fine. So he's going to, along with his help and the help of my colleagues in the House and the Senate, we're going to form a property tax task force to review how we tax in Illinois for property taxes and make sure that we do it better and we do it right. And we're going to start finding ways of really fixing that problem. And as the governor made it very clear to me as we had our conversations, this amendment was part of that process. And I'm going to take him at his word because he's done a lot of great things for our state and he has great vision for our state. So here I am today to try to fix our property tax system in this state. And I will count on my colleagues and I will count on the governor's office, the Senate, everybody. We need solutions and we're going to find them. And when you vote on this next November, you're going to see real solutions on the table. And with that, I want to introduce two of my colleagues, Representative Rita Mayfield and Representative Daniel Dittich. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here today to address a very important issue, not just to my constituents, but to residents across the state, our property tax system. The people of Illinois should not be punished for working hard, raising a family, and saving their money to buy a home. The governor's proposal is a great start to moving Illinois forward, but it doesn't address the property tax crisis. When the progressive tax structure was introduced, my colleagues and I saw this as an opportunity to outline a realistic plan that would provide real property tax relief across the state without impacting critical programming such as education and social services. I am pleased to work with the governor, my colleague, Representative John Carroll, Representative Stephanie Kiflewit, Representative Dan Dittich, my senator, Terry Link, who has just been a champion for reducing property taxes as well, and others across the state to create a truly fair tax system that will lower property bills for every homeowner in the state of Illinois. I'm going to turn things over to my colleague, Representative Dan Dittich, who will walk you through what we believe is the next step in providing a real property tax relief system.
Well, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Governor Pritzker for his commitment to closing Illinois' structural budget deficit, passing a balanced budget, and implementing a tax system that is fair for every single person in Illinois. The way that we tax people in Illinois is fundamentally unfair. It's unfair for the middle class, it's unfair for working families, and it's unfair for senior citizens. To bring a truly fair tax system to Illinois, there are two things we need to do. One, we need to adopt a fair tax like Governor Pritzker's plan that will cut income taxes for 97% of people in Illinois and allow the state to pay our bills and pass a balanced budget without decimating critical services such as healthcare, education, and law enforcement. But two, we need to lower property tax bills and reform a broken property tax system that has made it unaffordable for too many families to stay in the communities that they love. Illinois has among the highest property taxes in the entire country. We know you have told us how important it is that we cut property taxes. We feel the damage that out-of-control property taxes are doing to our state. All of us have heard these stories about families who did everything right. They worked hard, made sure their kids had a good education, paid off their mortgage, but are still being forced out of their homes because they can't afford unfair property tax increases every single year. Too many people can't sell their homes, they can't plan for their futures, and they can't afford to keep paying higher property taxes every single year. As elected officials, it is our job to fix this. We all know that a plan to make our tax system more fair is only complete if it includes a path forward that will result in real property tax relief. That's why this week I filed House Bill 3845 to create the Illinois Property Tax Relief Fund. The money in this fund will be used to provide direct property tax relief to every single homeowner in Illinois. Under this plan, every homeowner will see a new line item on their property tax bill that reduces their property tax liability every single year. This is a fair plan to lower property taxes without underfunding our vital local services, such as education, law enforcement, and road and infrastructure maintenance. I am very proud today to stand with so many of my colleagues who have advocated since we got here to Springfield to provide our communities with real property tax relief. Most of us, or many of us, have been here for less than 6 months. We did not create the fiscal challenges facing our state, but it is our job to solve them. And I am very, very proud to stand with so many property tax relief champions here today. People like Representative Tara Costa Howard, Sam Yingling, Jonathan Carroll, Jen Gong Gershowitz, and Bob Morgan, and Stephanie Kifowit, and Diane Pappas, my Senator Terry Link. We are all here. We know that this is a problem. We are dedicated to solving it. I look forward to working with my colleagues in the General Assembly and the Governor's Office in the coming months to implement the Illinois Property Tax Relief Fund so we can begin reducing property tax bills as soon as possible. And again, I want to thank Governor Pritzker for supporting a truly fair tax plan that will cut income taxes for 97% of Illinoisans and working with us to cut property taxes for 100% of homeowners in Illinois. Thank you.
I'm happy to take any questions you may have. Yes.
Democrats would respond, both in the Senate and the House, responded to Republicans' complaints about it being easier to raise taxes by saying it's never easy to raise taxes. But the Republicans' point was, it's easier to raise it on the higher levels. We'll just ding these rich people a little bit more. How do you respond to that? Okay, the people who are the 97%, we won't touch them, but future legislatures and future governors will just inch up those higher rates.
Well, everybody standing here and every Democrat in the state Senate voted for the plan that we put forward. They voted for the constitutional amendment, and they believe in lowering taxes for the vast majority of people and making sure that we have a thriving economy in Illinois. Remember that even at the top tax rate, the taxpayers of Illinois will pay a lower rate at the top tax rate than they would at the top tax rate in Iowa or Wisconsin or Minnesota or many other states. So we've kept even the top tax rate reasonable so that we can make sure we keep jobs in the state, so that we're actively promoting economic growth in the state, and very importantly, to me anyway, and I think to everybody that stands for the fair tax, this system that we've put forward is the same system that most other states have, and most other states are doing better than Illinois.
Governor, the question was raised a couple of times. I didn't really hear a clear answer on the House floor, but what do you say to taxpayers who see the fiscal responsibility of the state over the past 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, and so on? Why should they trust the government with $3.4 billion more?
Well, let's talk about the irresponsibility of running budget deficits for so many years, of having essentially a structural deficit for the state of billions of dollars every single year. That's been going on for far too long. This budget that we're going to be passing, I hope in the next couple of days, is a real balanced budget, truly balanced, and we're attempting to try to balance the budget for many years in the future. Democrats are the party of fiscal responsibility. We're the ones who are trying to pay down the debts, the $10 billion of additional short-term debt that was left by the last governor, and to fill this structural deficit hole, couple of $2 billion, and do it in a responsible way that protects the middle class and those striving to get there. And frankly, those are the ones who've been leaving the state. We need to protect them. We need to stand up for them. It's why we all believe in property tax reform. It's why we all believe in income tax reform. It's why we voted for the why they voted for the fair tax, and why I advocated for it.
Republicans are saying that the government
You've
overspends.
been able to make today to the concerns the Republicans have raised that, down the road to deal with the insatiable appetite that these Democrats have, that the highest rates are not going to drop further down to ding the middle class closer to the $60,000 or $70,000 income level that we heard talk about. Is there some commitment to keep the rates where they are now and not lower them to affect more people?
The commitment is to vote for rates that do in fact protect the middle class and those striving to get there. That's what we all believe in, is protecting the middle class. It's what it is to be a Democrat, to stand up for the middle class and those striving to get to the middle class. That's what I ran my campaign on. It's why we won by 16 points, because all of us who stand up for the fair tax believe that it has been too long since we actually fought for the middle class in this state. It's what Democrats truly believe. It's what I believe. It's what we're trying to do and what I've been doing for 4.5 months. This is a culmination of a significant effort over a lot of years to do what's right for middle-class families.
Just saying, but what I'm not hearing is the answer to the question. There's not a commitment to lower the top, or the rate of $250,000 down below. It's going to tap into more people.
The commitment is the rates, Bill, the rates that I put forward, which in fact are at $250,000. People who make more than $250,000 will pay a little bit more, and people who make less than $250,000 will either pay the same or get some tax relief.
We've got time for one more question. Quite a few members from southern Illinois and rural parts of Illinois who mentioned during debate that they felt kind of betrayed by the Pritzker administration for doing this. You know, they recalled your downstate revitalization plan. Whatever happened to that? And, you know,
Actually, a number of us have put forward ideas for a downstate revitalization plan. You're going to see over the next several days some efforts to revive manufacturing, some efforts to bring apprenticeship tax credits to the fore. It will help revive jobs in downstate Illinois. And here's an important thing. The fair tax lowers tax rates in southern Illinois and central Illinois by an even greater number than 97%. It's 98 and 99 and 99.5% of people who live in those districts who will pay less, not more.
all right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
No, we've got something else to go to.